Welcome to Securing America with me, Frank Gaffney. The program is a kind of owner's manual for protecting the country we love against all enemies, foreign and domestic, to God's glory and that of his kingdom. I couldn't be more pleased to have with us one of the most influential and I think respected and impactful members of the United States House of Representatives. His name is Congressman Chris Stewart of Utah. He has been a successful businessman, before that a highly decorated pilot in the Air Force. He has the world's record for around-the-world high-speed transit in a B-1 bomber. He has written prolifically, including New York Times bestsellers. And he's a member these days on not only the House Appropriations Committee, but also the House Intelligence Committee. He's a good friend. We're delighted to have a chance to visit with him about some topics that I know are top of mind for him, and that should be for all of us. Congressman, it's great to have you back. Welcome, sir.
It's always good to be with you, Frank. You're so gracious in your introductions. You always make my day. So I come on your show for no other reason, so thank you.
It's just reading your resume, sir, in very brief form. So I want to talk to you about a matter that is, I think, top of mind for those of us in the national security community. And that is, we're hearing now daily more and more and more evidence about the extent to which the Biden family, not just Hunter, not just the president's brother, not other members, the president of the United States himself, have been deeply compromised by, among others, the Chinese Communist Party. I'm on a mission here to try to make sure that the public has some understanding of what the national security implications are of that. Set aside, the corruption and the fact that it causes us real concern, I think, it has to, about the character of the individuals involved. But you've been in the national security, business for a very long time, sir. Now you're overseeing the intelligence community. What does it mean that the Chinese communists have the president of the United States, in their pocket?
Well, I think, Frank, I'd say a couple things, and then I want to directly answer your question. Before I do, a couple of observations, like I said. Number one is, this information that's available today, that's available last week, that we're suddenly talking about, isn't new information. It's been available for 18 months. But for some reason, our society and the media and others are set up, it's not true until the New York Times says it's true, or until the Washington Post says it's true, and then suddenly it's true. So many of us have been frustrated because we've known all of this information now since the laptop was first discovered and first discussed, which was, as you know, several weeks before the election. The second thing is, there's no question there are entanglements between not just Hunter Biden, but between other members of the Biden family, including brothers and including the president himself. Otherwise, who else is the big guy? Someone tell us who that is, if it's not the president, because others have come forward, partners and others, who have firsthand knowledge of this. And once again, Frank, to repeat myself, who've said 18 months ago, this isn't new, that the big guy is indeed the president. And last thing, observation is, we're seeing this projection. For 5 years, we were told President Trump is a puppet of Russian government. President Trump is a puppet of Vladimir Putin. And of course, none of that was true. And while that's being said, we know as well that this president, while he was in office as vice president and then as a private citizen, was facilitating all sorts of business dealings. And these weren't just, a couple $100 here and there. They're millions, potentially tens of millions of dollars. And how can we ever tell the American people that they can have confidence in this president if we can't answer that question that you put forward? And that is, how influenced is he by foreign entanglements as they have described it, and to really understand how deep those go?
But as you know, sir, nobody in the food chain, if you wish, south of the President of the United States, would be allowed to serve for a moment in a sensitive position, certainly not in the Defense Department, certainly most especially not in the military services, if they had a fraction of the degree to which this gentleman has been compromised. As a national security matter, how serious a problem is it that we have foreign powers, and it isn't just the Chinese, unfortunately. The mayor of Moscow's wife gave them money, and Burisma and so on compromised them for Ukraine. And who knows who all else? You said, sir, and if I may, just a small correction, I think that what is causing the current attention to the laptop is some of this information is, well, not new in the sense that it was in the laptop, but has only just come to light, including the fact that there are encryption keys from the Defense Department that have an unexplained role in all of this. But just at the, Defense 101 level, if you would, talk about what it means if our president has been batting for the other team.
Well, and so again, Frank, thanks for pointing out, I said something that wasn't, I guess, in a technical sense true, because some of this is just coming to light. For example, the encryption keys. We didn't know that 18 months ago. I think by and large, the overall umbrella of this story, we knew, as I said, but we are learning more and more details. There's no question that that's true. And none of those details are good news. None of those details or that new information exonerates the president or his family. And in fact, quite the opposite. And to your first point as well, if I were a civilian contractor, if I were an employee of the NSA, whether as a contractor or as a government official, there's no way in the world I would maintain my clearance or be given a clearance, even a top secret clearance, which is the lowest one, let alone the highly compartmented clearances above that. There's no way in the world someone would be given access to that information.
Yeah.
And
I think confidential clearance, for that matter, not alone top secret. And to the point, if you were a military officer or an enlisted man, you'd be in the brig by about now, don't you think? I mean, this is one of those cases where you would be, unceremoniously marched out of wherever you were employed or serving, and incarcerated, I would guess. Well, so again, to the extent that all of that is true, and we're learning more by the day, and I do want to salute Jack Maxey, who has, I think, been responsible for a lot of the forensic work that has brought this to light. Elite capture is something that is going on. It is unfortunately not confined to the president. You and Senator Marco Rubio have been warning about it. Just very quickly, we have to take a break in about a minute. Is this a problem far broader than the Biden, bad as the Biden family is?
Well, I guess the answer to that is we need to find out. And as I've expressed to you on other occasions, one of the real frustrations we have in being the minority right now is Adam Schiff has no interest at all in pursuing this. Nancy Pelosi has no interest at all in getting the answers to these questions, nor Chuck Schumer. And unfortunately, they control the levers of power in Congress right now, which is why we are counting the days until the 2022 election when we, and pray it happens. It's a catastrophe for our country if it doesn't. But we will recapture the House. I think it's likely we retake the Senate. And then we pursue this and we tell the American people that's the fair thing to do. Tell and inform the American people. And that just simply hasn't occurred to this point.
Yeah, it hasn't occurred, and it must. You're absolutely right about that. Congressman Chris Stewart is our guest. We're going to take just a very short break. And on the other side, we're going to talk a little bit about what are the political implications of Joe Biden being forced, I believe, to resign from the presidency. Something that our friend Tucker Carlson has pointed out is now apparently on the minds of a lot of his Democratic partisans as well. We'll get the take of a very accomplished political figure on the Republican side of the aisle on that and more right after this.